Hey guys, I was asked to see if I could provide a short video of Crash Player. So I'm going to try doing this on the simulator on my laptop and see if I can get a decent, decent recording for you. So this is Crash Player. This dock should all look familiar to you if you've got a Vizio TV with a Yahoo Connected TV. If we start it up, first thing you see on the first startup is this little splash screen. That will only show up the very first time you start the application. Jump to load Crash Player, and if you don't have an IP address set, it's going to take you right to the settings screen. I'm going to go ahead and put in an IP address. I think I've got this VM running that's got a test instance of Linux running. Come back and look at some of the other settings here in a minute. Okay, so what it will do first is this first screen, the sidebar, shows what you have on deck. Coming up to the sidebar was a requirement by Yahoo. You have to go to a sidebar first before you go full screen. I've actually found out they're changing that policy real soon. So maybe in the next release we won't have to come to this sidebar, or maybe we can make that optional. But it's kind of nice if you just want to jump into something you were watching already. It shows up right here and you're on deck. You hit enter, it'll ask you if you want to resume or play from the beginning, and you're off and running. Otherwise, you hit load Crash Player here, and it'll take you to the full screen view. First, you have the library icon, which is just the on deck and recently added content. This is just icons that's provided by, or not icons, but directories as they call them, provided by the Plex server. So we're looking at the recently added content list. You can go through them one at a time like this. You can also use the fast forward and rewind button on your remote and go a full page at a time. So you can also select, this different thing up here, different directory depending on which one you look at. And of course, as you highlight movies, if you pause on it for about a half a second, it will then update this bottom section here that shows you the details about the media you're highlighted. You can also see, like on these TV series, it's showing you the number of episodes that are not played, so still unwatched. Let's go over to movies. Movies is kind of basically the same thing. It all looks the same. You just have more directories here, and then even what they call secondary directories. So like by starring actor, you can go through and select John Travolta was in Bolt, apparently. So really nothing different with any of movies. Then TV shows, they're going to be a little bit different. Again, there you see the number of episodes unwatched in the top corner there. If we hit enter on one of them, then you go see any of the seasons you have on there, plus all episodes, and again the unwatched count on each icon there. And then this next part, if you select one of these and hit enter, you see this big ugly box come up across the top of the screen. It's one of my least favorite parts of this particular version of the app right now. It's terribly ugly. It's the only place I had screen real estate to put this thing, and I just wanted to get it functionality in there and get it out, and we'll go clean it up, make it look pretty later. So for right now, that metadata little box pops up there, shows you what you're at, but it just kind of looks confusing and looks ugly. But once you pop back up off that bottom row, it goes away and you can continue looking through these. That's one of the first things we'll fix in the next one. So then, let's see, if we go, channels basically uses the same view as the TV shows. So if we select a channel, then it has the same look to it. Really not much to say there. Let's go back. If you were to select a movie, for example, let's do Despicable Me. This is the media info screen, I guess. Gives you more detail about the media you've selected. You can select here to mark it unwatched or mark it watched, or if it's in progress, you have this option for either watched or unwatched. You could do both of them there. So like Bolt is in progress, so you can see we got watched or unwatched we could select. So once you're on this screen, you can hit play. If it's already in progress, it'll ask if you want to resume. If you're not in progress, it will just start from the beginning without asking you anything. I'm going to go ahead and try to resume here, but I'll warn you, the media player here in this simulator is pretty poor. Plus, with recording this, it's probably not going to be great. Well, it looks like it's not doing too bad. You can see if we jump over here, we can highlight the time. We can select time remaining, time progressed, I guess, and then the total time of the movie just by clicking OK on your remote. Supports a fast forward or rewind. We have what's called a passive fast forward, where it essentially pauses the movie and then starts jumping forward, and then when you play again, it will resume from where you selected OK. The more you hit fast forward and rewind, the faster it will go. Goes from 2x to 32x. That display is also terrible, that little number that appears on the middle of the screen, but it is what it is for now. We also have an active fast forward, which doesn't work well. It works really well if you're on a really fast connection with a really good Plex server. Basically, it will keep the movie playing and just try to jump forward and show you little snippets as it's moving forward. Every 1 second, it shows you a snippet so you can visually see where you're going rather than just looking at the time bar. You can enable that or disable that in the settings screen. See one other option here. If you hit the green key on your remote while you're playing a movie, you get this display up on top here. It's not pretty. It's not really meant to be pretty. It was mostly for troubleshooting and debugging while we were looking at the transcoding, but I figured let's leave it in there. There's no reason to take it out necessarily. So that's an option if you want to see some information about the movie that's playing or the buffering, whatnot. So if we hit stop, you jump back out to this screen. You can also, from this screen, just hit the play button on your remote. It will start playback as well. Also, from this screen, if you're highlighting an actual media, you can hit the play button on your remote, and it will short-circuit that media info screen and go right to playback. Let me see if I can, simulate that here on the simulator. You just got to find the right window here. It must be this one. So if I just hit play here, it jumps me right to playback. So we'll bail back out of there now. Let's jump back out to settings real quick. I want to show you a couple things. So you can go to settings by either hitting the green key on your keyboard or go down here to this and select it. IP address and port, that should be pretty obvious. In the library, you may have noticed that the grids will animate back and forth. It'll slide in from the side. I made an option to disable that just in case some people don't like it. Doesn't seem to bother me, but it might bother people. Can reset all of your settings to defaults if you want here. There's also a little about CRASHPlayer screen that's actually required by Yahoo. I put that in there. So here under player settings, we have a few little goodies. This is where you turn that active rewind fast forward on and off. I'll turn it on and maybe go try it here in a second and see how it works on this particular setup. The speed is just kind of an arbitrary number that just kind of gives an overall speed of how fast you're going to move forward or backward when you're fast forwarding. 1 is slowest, 6 is the fastest. So if you're on 1, if you like to watch short movies or short maybe TV series most often, maybe you want it to be at 1 so that when you fast forward it doesn't jump through the movies too quick. If you like to watch 2-3 hour movies, maybe you want it set to 6 so that when you do fast forward it jumps ahead a little faster for you. Just kind of an option to make it a little more customizable. The instant replay, some remotes have a last button on them. Most of the new TVs have, in place of that last button, have a little, it's like a circle with an arrow on it. It's in the same place of that last button, but that's actually an instant replay button. If you hit that, it's going to jump back so many seconds. You can use this setting to determine how far that's going to jump back every time you hit that button. So you go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds, or then 15, 20, 25, and 30. Default is 6. I don't know why it sounded good. So this local playback quality and resolution, and the channel or remote playback quality and resolution, basically if you set that to auto, if there's multiple streams available in your media, it's going to try to pick the best stream based on the bandwidth of your TV. That's not typically something you see with local media, but it is possible to set it up that way in Plex. But with remote media such as channels, there's almost always 3, 4, even 5 or 6 playback qualities that you can select from, which makes sense if you're connecting remotely to, you're going across the internet and maybe your internet connection might not be super fast. You're trying to pull a 1080p movie, you're going to be disappointed and not very happy with your playback. So let's go ahead and set this to, if you leave it to auto, it's just going to automatically select it. If we put it to manual, then let's go show you what that does. So we go back into the CRASHPlayer full screen app, select a channel. Now if we go play an episode, see, it's going to ask you, it says there's all these streams available, which one do you want to play? Now since there was some bit rates reported as options here, that's the second field here, 3500, 2200, 1700, 1200. If there is bit rates available, I still give you the option to just hit auto right here and just let it pick for you. Otherwise you select the stream quality you want and it'll start going. I selected I selected the lowest quality there, but we're not going to wait for it to load. Same thing happens here. If you were to hit play on the keyboard, it's going to jump right to that play and start playing it, but it's going to ask you what quality you want. Well, there's a little trick that I put in there because I've got kids, and I don't want to have to teach my kids which option they need to select from the list, but I don't want to have to, I want to be able to select it myself. Well, I don't want to have to always be going in here and changing that setting for them. So what I did is there's an option, you put it on auto, and then if we load CRASHPlayer again, we'll go to those channels. So now if I were to select an episode, it's going to automatically select a stream for me. You can see at the top it selected a 1200 bit rate 640 by 360 stream. And it looks like the media player might be choking on me here. Oh, there it came back. Another option, instead of hitting play here, if you hit the blue key on your remote, I'll simulate that in the simulator here, then it bypasses that auto and immediately throws you to this option where you can select the stream again if you want. So that way you can have the option to play it auto, or you can bypass that manually if you want. And same here, if you're highlighting an episode here, you hit the blue key, it's going to jump right to that playback screen without going to that next detail screen, but it's going to still give you the option to pick your stream if there is multiple streams available. If there's not one available, if there's not more than one available, you're just going to go right to the playback. I think that's pretty much it. I can't think of any details I've left out. I'm sure I've forgotten something, but I think that's all the important things. So hopefully this gives you a good preview of the app, and let's hope we see it coming out to the Yahoo App Store real soon. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment on the Facebook page. Thanks.